podcast with me, your host, Crystal Cully, also known as the most famous woman in the world. And today, I'm going to just speak to you guys from my heart because I had a very long day, but I've committed to this podcast and to this community and to actually creating a place where you can be mentored, you could find a mentor, and where you can mentor other people who you are a little bit ahead of in terms of your life journey. I'm committed, people. I'm committed. So I'm going to speak from my heart today, and I'm going to say two pieces of advice. I'm going to give two pieces of advice that I was just thinking today. And those two pieces of advice are, number one, work with what you have. And I know so many people say this, and it's funny because before I started this podcast and was thinking about starting the podcast for a couple years before I started it, I would listen to podcasts and they would tell me the same thing. And, it took a few years for me to really get the message and to actually start and actually do this. And as it stands right now, I haven't even started the video version of this yet, right? And that's because, well, I need to buy new camera equipment. I sold my nice Sony A7R4 last year, which I'm so sad about now, but I really needed the money for something else. And now that I look at that, I'm really pissed that I did that and I shouldn't have done that. But it's okay because I am going to get another one soon and building my set and going to do that. But look, the whole point is this. Right now, I am literally sitting in my closet. I'm sitting on the ground of my closet in between my clothes. And this closet is not a big, fancy, nice, special closet. It's just a closet. And I'm sitting in here and I'm talking to you guys on a lav mic that I bought for something totally else a few years ago, which was a documentary that I was making for Guitar Shorty. And I am doing this in this closet with this tiny little lav mic because all of my belongings are in Newport Beach right now in my storage unit, and I'm in Texas right now trying to set up my aerospace corporation, which is called Spaceborne. And I know I'm getting off on a tangent, but the whole point is this. I came to Texas temporarily to really get some momentum going for my aerospace startup. And I'm here and I don't have all my things. I don't have, I literally came out here. I drove my baby Corvette 3 states across with nothing but a suitcase and my cats and a laptop and a phone. That's it. Left everything else in my storage unit. So all my clothes, all my furniture, all my shoes, all my other handbags, everything. My dishes, my kitchen appliances, everything is in Newport Beach right now. And so I'm here and I kept, thinking in my head, I gotta start that podcast. And it was going in the back of my brain for the last couple years. And I'm here. I don't have my nice studio set up. I don't have my nice condenser mic. I don't have my nice monitors. I don't have my mic preamp that I like to use, which is an Avalon. I'm a music producer. If you guys don't know that, I'm a musician and music producer first and foremost. That's what I do. And it took me a few weeks and I kept going, and not doing the podcast because, I'm in Texas right now. I don't have all my stuff and I'm supposed to be working on Spaceborne and da 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 da. And I started catching myself and realizing, wait a minute, you know what? It's never a good time. I've been thinking of this podcast for 2 years, and it was always something. It was always something. Oh, well, this semester in school is hard. Oh, well, I'm doing clinical hours right now. I'm crazy, and I also went back to school to be a doctor. So yes, there's that. On a side note, I'm too stressed. I just broke up with someone. Someone just broke up with me. My whatever thing it was going on that caused me to keep putting this podcast on the back burner, on the back burner, on the back burner, until I finally said, no more effing excuses. You're doing the podcast. I don't care. That's what I told myself. I don't care, whatever. And I actually didn't even remember that I had this little lav mic. And I didn't remember I brought it either, which I'm like, that's so weird that I brought it. Like, why did I bring this? I don't even remember the purpose. I literally think this mic may have been accidentally somewhere stuffed in one of my backpacks or a purse or something. Because the first podcast episode I did for this was just on my phone with nothing, no special microphone, nothing. I went, you know what? I'm doing it right now. And I pulled over my car because I was thinking, this would be a great podcast episode. And I was thinking of something, I don't remember what it was. And I thought, that would be a great podcast episode. Let me write it down in my notes, in my Evernote, and get to it later and da-da-da-da-da. And something just sparked in me, and something just clicked where I went, you know what? No more. You are doing this podcast episode right now. You're doing it with no notes. You're going to just do it on the fly. And if you stutter, and if whatever, you're going to just keep going with it, because you need to effing start. And that's how I started this podcast. Finally, after a few years of me listening to other people's content and going, yeah, I just got to start. Yeah, I just got to start, Finally, I did it. And I made a decision and a commitment to myself that I would record a podcast episode 5 days a week, period. And I somehow have pretty much stuck to that consistency, and not completely 100%, okay? But I've pretty much stuck to it, and I'm getting better and better at it. And now I'm on episode number 47. 47. I can't even believe that I'm on episode 47. And I created the website little by little over these past few weeks. I created the outline for the Millionaire Mentor Method course little by little by little. I'm just on my computer all day making the modules, contacting people who I know who could teach the modules, just asking them if they're interested, building out the logo, designing the colors, designing the logo, writing blog posts. I hired an assistant to help me write the blog posts, and just little by little by little. And I don't have any kind of special equipment right now. I have a laptop, a phone, and a lav mic that cost, I think, like $60 on Amazon. So the point is, start with what you have. If you have a phone, start with your phone. If you think, oh, well, my phone isn't good enough, or it's not new enough, or whatever, just 2 things. Realize this. It's not always about your equipment. A lot of times it's about the content. It's about you. It's about your message. And honestly, right now, sometimes lower quality content has a certain charm for me. Like sometimes I'm going on YouTube or wherever, and somebody's video that was recorded shitty just with their phone, sometimes I just watch those, because It's not about the equipment. It's about what the person's trying to say. And if that thing or topic that they're saying is hitting home, and which brings me nicely to another segment, my second segment, which I said earlier that I was going to give 2 pieces of advice. Okay, so that was the first piece of advice. Start with whatever you have. Okay. Second piece of advice, and this is again so cliched. It's so cliched. But now that I'm creating content like this, even though I've created content my whole life, it was in the realm of music. And with music, it's more, I mean, yes, you can have your personality in music, obviously, and all that, but it's sort of different when you're speaking, because you want to sound in what you're doing in your life. And this is not just for podcasters or podcast people or content creators or whatever. This is about when you're just speaking at a small meeting, or you are working at Starbucks, or you're working at Office Depot, you're working at McDonald's, or you're doing whatever in your life. You're I don't know, you're a plumber, you're a handyman, whatever job you have. This is going to sound really cliched, but I'm going to say it. Just be yourself. And I know it just sounds, it's funny because I go back and forth between the whole be yourself thing. Because there was a time when somebody would tell me, just be yourself. And I would get so mad. I'd be like, you're stupid. I hate you. Because I would think that is a dumb piece of advice. That is on its face a bad and dumb piece of advice, because what if your quote unquote self is very awkward? Or what if your quote unquote self is an asshole? What if you're genuinely just an asshole? And then somebody tells you, just be yourself. And you're like, cool, I'm just going to be a dick. That's who I am, bro. I mean, hey, I've gone through my asshole era before, so. And then I would think to myself, well, you can't just be yourself in it depends on what situation you're in. I mean, if you're in court and you are speaking to a judge, you probably, and let's just say you have a really funny, witty, sarcastic personality naturally. Well, you might not want to just be yourself and piss off the judge and irk the judge and just bring down the fury of the law upon your head because you cracked a joke or something, right? So there's a time and a place, but I want to maybe flesh out this concept a little bit better about the be yourself thing, which is, how do I even explain what's in my brain right now? Because I am currently navigating these waters right now with this podcast, which is this. Yes, you're going to want to, it's basically this. Don't completely squash your natural spirit, let's say, right? So it's not really just be yourself and just have at it haphazardly. What I'm saying is try to be genuine in your spirit and kind of get that across. It's basically this. It's the difference between watching someone speak to you like a news anchor. Sometimes when I'm watching the news, I can't even pay attention to what they're saying because I just hear the newsy voice and it just cracks me up. I'm like, it's just funny to me that they still have news anchors and reporters speak like that. I'm like, it's so old school. And I'm like, do people even notice this? Am I the only person that thinks this is just completely comical, that these, that the legacy news media still has the reporters speaking like reporters from the 80s or whatever? But, it's other things too. Like politicians have a certain way of speaking. And sometimes when they're speaking, I think to myself, do people really talk like that? Like, some of them just end up sounding very robotic and inhuman. And I don't think that is good. I think it alienates people, and like, when you have too much of a professional barrier in the way that you're like just speaking and being and everything, it's hard for people to connect to you, because it's just like, we can feel that little like screen in front of you, that it just seems like you're being too professional. And the person who prompted me to give this piece of advice today and to delve more deeper into how we can be ourselves in a balanced and smart and wise and more detailed way is actually Trump, which I don't know if you guys have been watching his last few speeches, but I guess I could say I'm very late on the Trump mania, because the first time around, I was neck deep in trying to build Weed Dash. And I did not care what was going on in the election situation at all. I had my company, and I was making money for the very first time in my life, money like I had never seen before. And I didn't give an S what was going on in the news. Like, people would be like, oh, did you hear that Trump said this? Oh, did you hear that Trump said that? I was like, I don't care, bro. Like, I'm banking right now. Like, I'm stacking. Like, I don't care shit what's going on right now in the news. Like, leave me out of it. Like, I'm trying to serve these customers right now. Like, trying to make my cannabis delivery service crack. Like, I get out of my face. Like, I could care less what's happening on any TV right now. Like, I'm making racks. Like, and sometimes I go back into that mindset, right? But that's where my brain was the first time around on Trump. But now I'm a little older, a little calmer, a little more battle worn, I guess you could say. And I was, finally able to sit down and watch a Trump speech really for the first time. I really haven't ever really watched him speak, because I've just been too busy and not worried about what's going on. I had my head buried in the sand trying to become successful. And so I noticed finally what people see in him. And I finally saw that for me, and for obviously millions of people, it's because you feel like he's talking to you as at least I wouldn't say normal person, but pretty much, he sounds more like a normal person. And he sounds like somebody who you could go talk to, like, he sounds like when he's talking to you, he just talks. And I get it now. Like, I see it now. Now I'm like, oh, I finally get it. Like, okay, yeah, I know. Okay. Took me a very long time. Like, I know I'm very, 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 very late on this train. But I finally understood that, okay, got it. Like, this is the politician who is not really a politician. He's a businessman. He speaks just off the cuff. And the reason why he comes across as he comes across is because you can't deny that he knows his shit in business. He knows what he's talking about when it comes to running a business. And ultimately, the United States of America is a corporation. If you didn't know, yes, it is. A lot of people don't know that. The United States of America is actually a corporation. Look it up. Have your mind blown. There you go. Secret red pill inserted into this podcast. And so he can just speak, he has so many parts of his speeches where you could tell he's just making asides and giving you examples, and it just sounds very natural. And I get it now. And I took that piece of I took that kind of aha moment, that eureka moment I had recently with Trump's speech, and I went, okay, I get it. You can't squash your personality and your spirit so much that you come across as a robot, because nobody wants to follow a robot. Or maybe they do soon with AI, but nobody wants to actually follow a robot. And that's also why somebody like Elon Musk is so popular, right? Like, who knows who the CEO of General Electric is right now? Who knows who the CEO of, I don't know, let me think of another company. Who knows who the CEO is of Maytag? Who knows? Who knows who the CEO is of Honda? Like, we don't know. We don't care. But why? Why don't we care? There are plenty of other multi-billion-dollar companies. There are plenty of other founders who have founded multi-billion-dollar companies. He's not the only one. Yes, okay, he is up there, and is always placing in the top 3 of the world's richest human beings on paper, right? But there is something special about the way that Elon can retain his quirky little personality while still coming across as professional and like he knows his shit in his domain. And so we can take cues from Trump and Elon and remember to infuse our real selves into our public persona. Of course, while being smart, right? You don't want to just be, if you're a kooky nut, naturally, you can't maybe bring your kooky nut full on 100% personality into the workplace, but you can integrate it into your professional persona in a way that still allows your spirit to shine through, and that allows people to feel connected to you in a genuine way. And I think a great way to start doing that is to just remember the people that you connect to. I mean, do you connect to people who are super professional and slick and just like perfect all the time? No. I love people who are actually like wacky and colorful and weird and unique. I love those people. Like, those are the people that I follow. Whenever I think of someone who I'm just like, I fucking love this guy, I always just think of Riff Raff. And I don't know if you guys know who that is, but he's like he's a rapper that's just awesome. Like, whenever I feel crappy, I just listen to Riff Raff and I'm just like, hell yeah. I feel better now. And thinking of somebody like Riff Raff, I think what if he tried to be like everybody else? Like, he wouldn't be himself. Like, I wouldn't follow him. I wouldn't listen to his music. I wouldn't show all my friends riff-raff videos just so we can all have a good time. Like, if he didn't retain his personality, and that's in music, but if he didn't retain he also does, like, he'll talk. He does, podcasts and stuff too, so he speaks too. But if he just had a just super, like, cookie cutter type personality, I wouldn't follow him. Like, there's enough of those, right? And when there's politicians that are just blah, like, you just can't feel anything toward them, right? So I just want to tell you all out there to be yourself as much as you can in a smart way, because you're going to be probably blown away by how many people actually love you. The real you, not the fake you. So, all right, party people, please go to our budding mentoring community. This is a mentoring community, which means we do meet offline. We meet in real life, and we definitely need mentors. If you are anyone who is a little bit farther along in your career journey, so if you've been in business for years, you've been in sports for years, you've been in music for years, you've been in entertainment or aerospace or the military or really anything, and you feel that at this point in your career that you could potentially give advice to someone who is starting out and needs some guidance, please contact me through millionairementormethod.com. There's a contact form there. You can sign up for free to be a mentor on the mentor matching service. If you need a mentor, I have some good news, people. I have some good news. I have had some signups for mentors, and I'll tell you this much: one of them is effing amazing, like truly amazing. I'll give you a hint. He has a PhD in aerospace and has worked with every aerospace corporation or agency, including NASA, that you can imagine. And I'm just excited. That's exciting to me because I'm like, yeah, we got somebody, Actually, we got a few people, but that one I'm very, very happy to say that he's on board to mentor somebody. So yes, people. We have a mastermind coming up this Saturday, June 10th. It's on meetup.com. If you just search Millionaire Mentor Method on Meetup, there's a lot of M's. If you search this podcast title at meetup.com, our free mastermind will come up. And our mastermind is literally just a group of people, and we get together and we put our brains together to create a super mind, because more computing power, right? It's just like computers. If you have one computer, well, you will have more computing power if you hook them together, and now you have two computers crunching the same problem. And guess what? If you add another computer to that network, you will get even more computing power. And if you add another one, you'll get even more. And it's the same thing with our brains, our minds. So a mastermind is when you come together and you create a super mind. I actually kind of want to call it a super mind, because that's really what it is. But the traditional word for it is mastermind. And plus it has an M in it, and clearly I like M's. So it is the monthly millionaire method. No, I said it wrong already, see? It is there's a lot of M's here, folks. It's the monthly millionaire mentor method mastermind on meetup.com. You're welcome for that. And until then, remember,
The information provided in this podcast is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be construed as financial advice, investment advice, or medical advice. The host is not a financial advisor nor a medical doctor or licensed therapist. Any financial or medical decisions made based on the information in this podcast are made at the listener's own risk. It is recommended that listeners consult with licensed professionals such as CPAs, financial advisors, and licensed physicians before making any investment or medical decisions. The host and creators of this podcast accept no responsibility or liability for any loss or damages incurred as a result of the information provided in this podcast.